today, what we're going to do is take a look at what are the trends that we saw in digital marketing in 2023 across the board, like nationally. And then also, what did we see with our clients? We work with over 100 law firms. They're all in estate planning and elder law and all across the country. So kind of taking a look granularly at what's happening with our clients, and then in the context of what's happening in digital marketing in general. And then how will these trends impact our planning for next year? So those of you that don't know me, I'm Jennifer Goddard. I am the CEO of Integrity Marketing Solutions. I also host a weekly podcast. It's called the Marketing Lawcast. You guys can go watch it on YouTube. You can listen to it on any of your favorite podcasting platforms or on the official website at marketinglawcast.com. I've been at the helm of Integrity Marketing Solutions since 1995. And we have always, from the beginning of time, we've always focused exclusively on estate planning and elder law marketing. Now, of course, that marketing has evolved through those years. We started out as a print and mail shop. What I bring to this discussion is my background in working with literally hundreds and hundreds of estate planning and elder law firms throughout the years, and over 100 firms as we are speaking today. We also manage more than $1 million worth of ad spend. The next slide kind of shows you a little bit about us. Established in 1995, more than 140 law firms. We really work in a comprehensive, integrated manner. So we do virtually everything that's digital marketing. We do website design, content marketing, SEO, video marketing, social media, paid advertising. We do sales training because generating leads is not enough. You got to be able to close those leads and generate the revenue. And then we also work with our clients in strategic planning. We really believe in that integrated approach and that everything should be working in sync towards the same goals and with the same building towards the outcome for the law firm's success, and not just individually for any specific area. So we too take an integrated approach to marketing. If you've been on any of my webinars before, you know I always have what I call this ethical bribe. I know people like to jump off the webinar. I'd like for you to stay all the way to the end because that's how you get the most value. So I always offer that we have these bonus materials, and we will share the links to those at the end of the webinar. And today what we have is a marketing planning checklist. We're going to go through some of these things today. And then when you get to working on your marketing plan for next year, you want to be sure that you're covering all of these points, all of these aspects of your marketing. So we've got that checklist for you. And then also I have an ebook on SEO specifically for estate planning and elder law. So we'll give you those links at the end of the class today. So here's kind of the overview of what we're going to go over today. We're going to look at the updates in Google algorithms that drive the search results and whether or not you show up for relevant keyword searches. We're going to look at trends in video marketing and social media that we observed through 2023. We're going to look at paid advertising on Google and Facebook. We're going to look at what's working with webinar marketing. And then, the elephant in the room, what's the impact of artificial intelligence on our digital marketing? You know that's been a huge change for 2023, but what does it really mean in terms of your marketing for your law firm? We're going to take a close look at that. So first thing you have to really account for in 2023 were some huge changes in Google algorithm. They kept releasing major updates. And one of the reasons for all these updates was the explosion of artificial intelligence and Google's attempt to respond to that. What we had when AI started to really hit the mass market was just tons and tons of content being created by AI that was very bland, that really wasn't very helpful, but it just kind of loaded up the quantity of content that publishers were putting out. That deteriorated the user experience. So Google kept making updates throughout the year, really to try to combat that. And what we saw, because of all these updates that just kept rolling out, and they were big updates, big changes, we saw a lot of volatility in the search engine results. So your website might have ranked on page one day, and you get a report and it dropped 30 slots the next day. 2 days later, it's come back up to number 5. And, it was just all over the place. And that was really caused by them rolling out all of these updates throughout the year. Now, in September, they released a big update on helpful content. Now, they've been kind of doing this helpful content thing throughout the year, that they're promoting content that they deem helpful. And by helpful, they mean it's from a reliable, credible source, and it's relevant, and it's not just rehashing things that are found, all over the internet, and it's accurate. But they did something a little bit different in September. Instead of just promoting helpful content, they are demoting sites that have a lot of unhelpful content. This really did affect a lot of websites that kind of previously focused on, I've got to have lots and lots of pages in my website, because that was a tactic, that was an SEO tactic years ago, that all things being equal, a website that had more pages indexed would rank higher than a website with fewer pages indexed. But this update that happened in September kind of turned that on its head and said, you know what? If you've got a lot of content on your website, it all had better be helpful. Because if you've got a lot of unhelpful content on your website, we're actually going to demote that site. So that really made us focus in on making sure that we're focused on quality instead of quantity. And like I said, that is a change from several years ago, where we did have a focus on both quality and quantity, but now it's really focused in on quality. And so what does Google say meets their helpful content or their high quality standard? So they've kind of been rolling this out over the past year as well. Previously, we had this acronym of EAT, which was expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. Well, in 2023, they added another layer called experience. So now it's EEAT. And this is the framework that Google uses to assess the quality of content on your website. So now we're looking at sending Google signals about the quality of the person behind, or the creator behind, the content that's being published. Google really prefers fresh content. Anything that's user created, like reviews, Google loves that. But the other thing is, we want to build the authority and the connection between your authority as the attorney and the person responsible for this content, the publisher of this content. We want to build your authority and link it to your content. Then that's really showing that Google those quality signals so that your content can get ranked and show on the search engine results pages, otherwise known as SERPs. So how do we demonstrate this to Google? Well, we want to show real-world experience and expertise in your content. So we really are now highlighting more your qualifications and your credentials. We want to be sure that the website itself is professionally designed, that it's secure, that it's user-friendly, and delivers a good user experience. Now, in the past, when we've talked to attorneys about how to build out their bio page, we've always focused on make sure that you appear approachable. People are more interested in who you are and how you care about them. than your credentials. And that may still be true, that people, they want to know how much you care before they care how much you know. There's still that level of we want to be human on that bio page, but we also don't want to hold back on getting your credentials out there, because even if people don't care so much about your credentials, Google does. So what we've done with our clients is we've kind of gone back to those bio pages and filled them out with things that maybe in the past weren't as important for the human experience, but now they're really important for Google. So one of the things that we have done is keep some of that human experience on that bio page, but make sure that we've got everything in there as far as education, qualifications, courses that you've taught, publications, where you've had papers published. Those kinds of things are very important to get now onto that bio page, because it's sending signals to Google that the creator behind this content is credible. And of course, because you're lawyers, you have a level of credibility already with Google, but you want to be sure that you're sending those quality signals. When we're looking at then building out the content, building out that EEAT in our content, we really want to share firsthand experiences and real life examples as much as possible. Now, I know you may need to anonymize some of those things, but rather than just talking about legal topics, to the extent that you can talk about a specific case or a real life experience, that's going to give you a little boost in Google's eyes. We want to be sure that we showcase the depth of your knowledge in your articles that are on your website. Building a strong content architecture. That's another thing that we have done with our clients this year when we've looked at their blog content and their practice area content. We've reorganized that structure from what we had years ago to something that is more in line with what Google is looking for through their algorithm and their bots. So one takeaway from that is, if your website is more than a year old, you may want to talk to us if we are your website provider, or whoever is handling your website. You may want to talk to them about, do we need to restructure the website? It may be that all the content is fine, but it needs to be reorganized and restructured so that Google recognizes it and it fits within the patterns that Google is looking for. So, SEO tips based on these changes that we have seen this year. You want to regularly update your site's content and make sure that it's free of errors. So, for example, if you've been blogging for the last 10 years and you've got blog articles on there that are now out of date, they're no longer accurate. Remember how I said that Google is now demoting sites that have unhelpful content? You may want to go through and delete some of those pages and be sure that you do some redirects so that you don't mess up your SEO, because the internet has already indexed those pages. But if they're no longer helpful, you want to either update them or redirect people to an update, or delete and do a redirect of the link itself so that the index would take people to a more updated article when they click on that link in the search engine results page. So there's some things that may need to be done now to your website. And it's not that there was a mistake made and you have to fix that mistake. That's not the situation. It's that things have changed. It's just like when you update someone's estate plan, when the law changes, it's not that the estate plan was wrong before. It's just that now we have some other opportunities and we have some things that we need to do to update the plan. So your website is the very same thing. It's just that it has to constantly adapt to these changes as they're coming at us at a rapid fire pace. Be sure that you're working hard to get those client reviews. Google loves those client reviews, and reviews on Google are still the most influential for your SEO. Be sure that your page experience and the technical aspects of your SEO are up to date. one of the things that can really hurt a website. Sometimes people try to DIY their websites because they're trying to save some money and they just don't really understand all of these aspects of SEO. And even though the website may look nice, technically there are errors in terms of SEO functionality. So you want to get rid of that stuff. Kind of the overall takeaway on this is it's harder. It's harder than it used to be. And part of that is being driven by this huge flood of content that's coming out from generated by artificial intelligence. So there's a lot of competition out there, and you want to make sure that you're covering the bases and not making innocent mistakes. Things that, like I said, worked a few years ago or that didn't really matter that much a few years ago. Now, Google's holding everybody to a higher standard. So it's a very good idea to have a pro review your website and possibly redesign the website as we go into 2024, so that you're going to be aligned with Google's standards and have the best chance of reaching your target audience and converting and, you know, getting new leads and converting them. It's also important to realize that this is sort of an evolution. There are levels of EEAT. So you want to start off with a website that is technically correct and that it doesn't have any penalties. But then it's constantly, now we're in this constant situation of updating and improving and evolving the website with fresh content all the time, content that meets Google's standards. So we always want to be looking at how can we improve the website? How can we improve the content on the website in ways that provide more value to the user and build trust at every step of the way? Very much like the process of estate planning, this is not something that is once and done. It's something that you try to get right, as close to right and perfect the first time, but then it's evolving and it's something that we're always working on. So that's kind of the takeaways is don't make any big mistakes. Don't focus on quantity over quality, focus on quality. And make sure that you're constantly working at improving that website and providing value and helpful content. And that's how you're going to win at the SEO game next year. So content creation, author credentials, building out that bio page, building out an author card or panel for your blog. And I'll show you what that looks like. Making sure that your blog content is connected to your author panel so that you get that boost of authority. Earning backlinks from reputable and authoritative sources. That's something that has just been extremely successful for us and for our clients in 2023. Our strategy has been to write and publish helpful content on the blog, then write a press release about that content and distribute that press release to authoritative online media sources, developing those backlinks to the website that are fresh and that are authoritative and that are relevant. And that's a strategy that we've seen work so well this year. And the other thing about it is to remember that these digital media backlinks have a shelf life. They typically don't last forever. So, and they're not valuable to you forever. The older they get, the less value they are to you. So it's a system of consistency, of doing this over and over and over. So we're building the backlinks and we're always adding fresh, authoritative, relevant backlinks. And then, of course, we really can never overemphasize the importance of getting those client reviews on Google and just encouraging your satisfied clients to leave those reviews and to leave reviews that are specific, that showcase your reliability and the quality of your service. So this is what I'm talking about in establishing authorship. When we look at the website, the About Us page should be about the law firm. Your bio page should be about you. and it should really get all of your accomplishments and all of your credentials on that bio page. It's important, if you haven't already done this, to go to your LinkedIn profile and do the same thing. Make sure that that LinkedIn profile is built out, and then you can link to it across social media. So that LinkedIn, and oftentimes, guys, you may not realize this, but in a Google search, your LinkedIn profile will oftentimes show up very high if people are searching on your name. So you want to be sure that your LinkedIn profile is well built out and that it gets all of your accomplishments and all of your credentials in there. And then you can link to it across social media. And then this blog authorship card or panel. Here's an example of mine. When you pull up one of my blog articles, my authorship panel shows up as well. And this does a couple of things. Let's go to the next slide. I'll show you another example. This is one of our clients. This is their author card or panel. Every post includes this authorship link, this authorship panel. And what this does for you is kind of a double-edged sword. The blog content now ranks better because it is linked to a credible source. That's you. So you're lending your authority and your expertise to this content. So it can rank better because it's from an authoritative source. At the same time, the fact that you're regularly and consistently publishing helpful content, and it's linked to your authorship, you're improving your credibility as well. So it kind of works both ways. It helps the content, and the authorship helps the content, and the content helps the authorship. So you want to be sure, if you don't already have a authorship card or panel connected to your blog posts, that's one of the things you're going to want to do for 2024 is make sure you get that accomplished, and that every one of your blog articles is connected to your authority, and that your authority is then boosted every time you're publishing to your blog. Now, if you're wondering whether all this stuff actually makes a difference, what we've seen is that once we start implementing these kinds of changes and really get in alignment with Google's algorithms and their quality standards, we can see huge increases in your online visibility and where you show up in the search engine results. So I just grabbed a quick screenshot for this particular client. We focused on 44 key search terms. And in the time frame, is this relatively short time frame, we were able to get improvement across 37 of those 44 terms. In fact, we got 28 of them into the top 3 rankings. And you can kind of see the results across the board there. We saw improvement across almost all of the search terms that we had focused on. And I just share that to show that, yes, you can make a huge difference. It's a little bit like deciding I'm going to go start working out and I'm going to focus on these parts of my body. And yet, at first you might think, oh gosh, it's such a big job, and I'm not sure that this exercise is really working. But if you track it, you will find that it does work. And it's the same way with the SEO. Decide what you're going to focus on. Make sure that you're following the rules and that you're publishing that content and building your authority, and you will see results. We see it across the board. So in today's SEO landscape, here's some of the takeaways. Just remember, it's not a once and done thing. I think years ago, there was some truth to the idea that maybe it was once and done. When SEO was primarily a matter of on the website SEO. So we had to make sure that everything on that website was technically correct. The site loaded fast. You had a good user experience. You didn't have broken links. You had unique meta descriptions for every page, and you had your H1 tags and your H2 tags properly organized. Once that was all done, a lot of times a site would rank really quickly, and it would hold its position for a long time. So people got in their heads that, okay, once I SEO my site, it's going to be good. It's going to be good to go, and I don't need to keep doing it. What has happened in today's environment is, yes, we have to do that. That is necessary, but not sufficient, right? You have to do the on-site technical SEO, but in order to rank and hold your rank, it's an ongoing process of showing Google that you're worthy of that page one ranking. It's a matter of getting those quality signals sent to Google on a regular basis. So it's establishing your authority, it's publishing optimized, helpful content. It's getting those backlinks. It's a never-ending job now. It's not something that's just once and done. That's really the biggest takeaway that I have from 2023 is that the landscape is always changing. There's going to be some volatility. It's a lot harder than it used to be, and it's an ongoing job. Getting that technical SEO correct on the website, like I said, it's necessary, but it's not sufficient. Kind of moving on to why are we so interested in getting the SEO correct? Well, SEO is your organic marketing. So I think everybody's pretty well aware now that when you go to a Google search and you get that search engine results page, we can tell the difference between the organic listings and the paid listings. And what your SEO does for you is it gets you to page one without you having to pay to get there. It also helps lend credibility to the ads that you do have there. So if you've got an ad running at the top of the page, but then you also have organic listings on that page, your ad has more credibility. So what we've seen across the board with paid advertising is the cost per lead on all the paid platforms has gone up this year. Inflation, right? Everything. Tell me one thing that hasn't gone up this year. So our cost per lead on our paid platforms is going up. Organic marketing, that SEO, what that does for you is it helps you get in front of your audience, those people who are actively seeking. So this is search-based, right? And it helps give credibility. It gives you another chance for people to click through to your website. When they see an ad and they see the organic listing, maybe if they see a couple of organic listings, even on page one, your credibility goes through the roof. And so it really helps to lower our cost per lead, making our advertising more effective, less expensive, as well as giving us the opportunity to get leads for free, which overall will bring down our client acquisition costs across the board. How well does this work? Well, when I was preparing for this webinar, I was really diving into all of our client data. And one of our clients has gone from $1 million a year to $1.5 million a year. That's a 50% increase for a seven-figure firm. That's some great increase. And their primary focus was on search engine optimization and content marketing. Now, they did have some paid advertising running. We also did redesign their website to boost conversions. But their paid advertising budget is very modest. Their big focus was on their SEO and their content marketing. And they grew based on that. And the big payoff is that when you get your organic marketing working really well, you can grow revenue and you can grow margin because your cost per lead, your client acquisition costs go down. Typically, where a lot of firms will get into trouble is they will invest heavily in paid advertising, ignoring content marketing, ignoring SEO. And yes, they can boost their revenue, but their client acquisition costs go up right along with the revenue. So by taking a little bit of a different approach, not abandoning his paid advertising, but looking at that website redesign, the SEO and the content marketing, he was able to grow the revenue while lowering the client acquisition costs. And that is a very good strategy for any of you who are looking at how can I scale my law firm in 2024? And honestly, if you will focus on that organic marketing across the board, that's your best chance to get more leads while lowering your costs. I just want to show you a little bit using some of our searches. This is our marketing. In online search, we compete against, if you look over here at this this first listing, they're spending $1.5 million a month on their pay-per-click. See, this company. So we have to compete against those people for the searches that are related to our agency. And we're spending about $50 a day. So, you know, we're really outgunned financially. But because we're very specific and very niched, we are able to get our ads to show, but then we're number one on the organic. So when you look at this search engine results page over here, yeah, the big spender, he's at the top of the page, but I've got two listings on the same page. One is an ad, one is organic. That's going to give my listings, my firm, a lot more credibility. On this, in a search for webinar marketing for estate planning, we've got our sponsored ad at the top of the page. Then we have 1, 2, 3 of our videos about webinar marketing are showing up in the middle of the page. And then if you go down to the bottom of the page, we have our organic listing as well. So we're showing up for a search on webinar marketing for estate planning, three just for different times, and then you add in the extra 2 videos. We got 5 instances on page 1 for webinar marketing for estate planning. Now I'm just trying to show you how this works. You have a little bit of budget for some pay-per-click, but then you really work on the organic and you can dominate that page 1, even against somebody that's coming into the market spending $1.5 million a month on pay-per-click. You know, you don't have to just give up, but you do have to get smart in that situation. Next big trend from 2023 is in looking at consumer behavior. Consumers are consuming your content. Okay, so what we've seen amongst our clients is that those people that focus on SEO, content marketing, and social media can reduce their cost per lead on paid platforms, and they close their leads more quickly. What we're seeing is when we look at the people that become clients, so for our lawyers, when we look at the people who become your clients, we see that on average, they have consumed at least 3 separate pieces of content from you across multiple platforms before they ever reached out. And oftentimes, it's way more. Sometimes we will find that people have been following you online for months before they finally reach out and book an appointment. So what we see across the board is that consumers are consuming your content. So I want you guys to be really committed in 2024 to publishing helpful quality content across multiple platforms on a consistent and frequent basis. That is what helps people feel trust in you, feel that you are legitimate, and feel comfortable reaching out to book a call with you, to hire you. And oftentimes when they do finally book that call, they're ready to go. They've read your stuff. They've followed you for a while. They're like, yes, this is the lawyer for me. And so your closing ratio goes up as well. So that content marketing is really a big part of your overall marketing strategy in 2024 in this brave new world we have with all this AI generated content flooding the internet. I want to take another look at YouTube. Remember I showed you that search engine results page and we had 3 videos on that page 1? All those videos that are on that page 1 are published on YouTube. And that's our YouTube channel. And you know that YouTube is the second largest search engine right behind Google. What we're finding is that YouTube influence is growing rapidly. So we have over 2 billion people logged in to YouTube on a monthly basis. Those video results, when the video is properly optimized on YouTube, they can show up in a Google search. So you don't necessarily have to go to YouTube to search and find your videos. People who are doing a Google search, your videos can show up on that Google search, and that just gives you one more chance to get onto page one with organic marketing. As you're creating videos for YouTube, one of the trends is silence. Okay, so you want to be sure people are watching these videos on mute. So you want to be sure that you have captions, that you have that you've added captions to your YouTube videos. The other thing is we see that people are jumping off of videos quickly. So you have about 8 seconds to grab somebody's attention on a YouTube video. So you don't want to ease into your topic. If you find that you have a habit of easing in, saying, welcome, it's Tuesday, I'm Jennifer, we're going to talk about this, we're going to talk about that. If you find that you do that, just clip it. Just take it into a video editor and clip that part out. These days, you want to jump right into your topic as quickly as you can to hook people before they click away. Another thing that's really trending on YouTube right now, I see it in our own videos, are the YouTube shorts. You really want to double down on those short clips, 60 seconds or less. There's plenty of data that shows that these short clips are really addictive. But in fact, 1.5 billion people watching them every single month is pretty astounding. And one of the cool things that you can do is take a long form video, publish it onto YouTube, and then take it into a video editor and cut it into these 60-second shorts, publish them to YouTube as a short, and then at the end, it'll ask you related videos. And so you can then put in a link back to your long form video. And what we use that strategy ourselves, and we find that our YouTube shorts get tons of views, and they send views to our long form video. Long form video tends to do better in search. Obviously, you have more to search, right? So you'll see that the long form video will show up in the Google search, but when people are scrolling through on YouTube, those shorts will show up all the time. So you really want to double down on the YouTube shorts strategy as well. So it's also important, guys, to remember that YouTube can be a social media platform as well as a search engine. You can have people subscribing. You can start to build a community on YouTube, a social community. You want to encourage people to always subscribe and share your videos. Every time you're posting a video, make sure you have some kind of an encouragement, whether it's in the description or in the video itself, that encourages people to subscribe. You can add a subscribe button overlay to your videos and to share. That's how you build that community of people using YouTube as a social platform. Now, when we're looking at it as a search engine, we want to be sure that we are optimizing our videos for SEO, for relevant keyword searches. So we want to optimize the file name of the video. We want to optimize the title. We want to optimize the description as best we can, following those guidelines so that we have the best chance that our video will show up in a Google search. So you want to kind of cover both of the bases with YouTube as both a social media platform and as a search engine. And just being sure that you are optimizing those videos for SEO best practices, you can get a lot of mileage out of those videos. I want to show you again, talking about webinar marketing for estate planning. how we are showing up in the knowledge base right there, just explaining what webinar marketing is, and then our video showing up again. And just showing you over here again, we have videos in a Google search. And just want to highlight that because, guys, that's free page one. That's not paid advertising, but that's getting you to page one. And it's getting you there with helpful content that resonates with people who are looking for the service that you're offering. I'm going to switch gears. I promised that I would talk about the landscape of paid advertising. And what we saw in 2023 was kind of the coming of age of Google's local service ads. They started off being for people that primarily provided home services, HVAC, things like that. But in 2020, Google opened this up for professional services, and lawyers were the first ones of the professional services to have access to use these local service ads. Now, what are they? They're ads that appear at the top of the search engine results, and they just provide a little tiny bit of business information and your headshot, and people can call directly from the ad. Instead of paying per click, you pay per lead that is generated through the LSA. They're designed to convert people at the bottom of the funnel. And by the bottom of the funnel, I mean, these are not people who are looking for information. They're looking to find an attorney. So they're going online to find a lawyer, and they see those ads, and theoretically, they're ready to engage with your firm. They can be really helpful for smaller firms that if you're not ranking organically yet, and you have a limited budget, you might want to look at LSAs because they can get you at the top of the page. The costs will vary depending on your market and your practice area, but they're ranging between $60 and $200 per lead in the legal field. What we see for estate planning and elder law is they're running around that $60 mark on the lower end of the cost per lead. They're very easy to set up. So sometimes firms will set them up themselves. The directions are right there on Google. You can set it up yourself, and that means you don't have to pay a management fee. Some of the downsides, there's no keyword targeting for those LSAs. So Google just determines if you're saying that you practice in probate, they decide when they're going to show your ad. So you don't get to say, I want a certain type of probate. They just make that decision. There are things that a management firm like us can do to optimize your LSAs and to make it easy for you to run them. But I find that a lot of small firms can do this themselves, and they don't need to pay a management fee. Keys to getting the optimal results from your LSAs are, number one, get as many 5-star reviews as you can, because one of the things that shows up in your ad is the number of 5-star reviews you have. This is your reviews star rating, right? And so if I'm looking at 3 of those ads across the top of the page, the one that has the most 5 stars is probably going to be my first outreach. So you want to be sure, if you're going to run LSAs, that you are working very hard to get a lot of 5-star reviews. And you might take a look in your market, if you're going to do this yourself, to see what you're up against. Do your competitors have 10 5-star reviews, or do they have, 500 5-star reviews? So you might want to take a look at that before you make a decision. The better your SEO, the better your LSAs are going to perform. It goes back to you're going to have that ad show up at the top of the page, and then you want to show up in organic listings lower on the page. That's going to give more credibility to your ads. It's really important that you track your leads properly. Google tracks those leads, but you've got to go in and say which leads are good, which leads converted. And if you don't do that, then your LSAs will not perform very well. So you really do need to do some management. And that's where sometimes you want to outsource that to a management firm like us to take care of that for you and to determine what your budget should be. So are LSAs something that should be part of your plan for next year? Firstly, understand they're pretty easy to set up. They can be a good way to get to the top of that local search page. And they're probably a good choice to at least try for a smaller firm. If you're a larger firm and you have more budget, you can probably get a bigger bang for your budget by using Google search ads, because you have a lot more options. You can do a lot better targeting and pre-qualification of your leads. The downsides are the very simplicity of it can be a downside because you don't have an ability to do any keyword targeting. So you can't really target your avatar. So let's say you're running an ad for probate. Well, there are lots of different kinds of probate and there are lots of different kinds of probate clients. So you don't get to do any kind of targeting like that to say that you want a certain type of probate client or a certain type of probate case. It's just that generic term of probate. The other thing to be aware of is that in smaller markets, there may not be any LSAs. There have to be at least 3 attorneys who set up an LSA campaign in a practice area for Google to start showing the ads. So in some markets, they're just not enough attorneys using them. So even though it might be a good strategy for a smaller market, if there are not enough attorneys using them, your ads are just not going to show up. When it comes to LSAs, when our clients ask us about LSAs, here's what we recommend. If you want to try paid advertising, but you really want to keep your risk low, you just kind of want to dip your toe in the water, an LSA might be a good choice for you because you can set it up yourself. You don't have to pay a management fee or a setup fee, and you can put a budget on there and just kind of see how it works. And if it doesn't work well for you, you can turn it off. So sometimes when people are kind of tepid about whether or not they want to do any paid advertising, we'll say, well, why don't you give it a try? You can minimize your risk. If you already have great SEO and tons of 5-star reviews, but you have a limited budget for paid advertising, then LSAs may be a good choice for you. There are some things, though, that will make it work and some things that will sabotage it. If you're going to run LSAs, you need to have or be committed to put in place a good system to respond promptly to the calls that are generated from your LSAs and to immediately get them booked. So if you are using an answering machine, if your phone frequently goes to voicemail, or if your answering service cannot book people into a consultation, your LSAs will not perform very well. Google does keep track of how quickly you respond and how many times when people call you, it goes directly to voicemail. What you want to be able to do is immediately respond to those leads. For one thing, it's going to convert them at a much higher rate. For another thing, Google's going to show your ad more frequently if you have immediate response rates. So if you can't do that, then you're going to have a hard time getting an ROI on the LSAs. There's some jargon for you. Getting a return on investment on your local service ads. If you've maxed out other strategies, you kind of feel like you've maxed out your paid advertising on Facebook, you've maxed out your search, and you want to allocate some budget to the LSAs, that can be a good marketing mix. That can be a good addition to your marketing mix. If you have a high urgency practice, so like criminal defense, probably none of you guys are in criminal defense because most of you are estate planning or elder law. But if you were in criminal defense, an LSA might be a really good choice. But some of the higher urgency practice areas in estate planning and elder law would be probate, estate litigation, or Medicaid crisis. So if you're practicing in those areas, LSAs might really be something for you to give a try. And the reason I say that is people go online knowing they need an attorney. There's like, okay, we've got a probate, I got to find an attorney. So they're going online almost like the old time yellow pages. They're not really searching for information. They're just trying to find a name to call. And that's kind of what the LSAs sort of feel like to me, is like they're like old time yellow pages ads. So if you're in a practice area where somebody might have opened up the yellow pages to try to find you, then an LSA might be a pretty good strategy for you and a low risk strategy. Another thing would be if you have excess capacity and you can profitably handle some of these lower end cases. So maybe you've brought on an associate and you can make money having them do guardianships. That might be a really good strategy to start running some LSAs for probate, and that might generate some guardianships for an associate attorney in your firm. Let me see here. Okay. So, considerations for LSAs. It is an investment decision, and they should be part of a more diversified approach. Do a cost-benefit analysis. If you're going to pay $100 per lead, you don't want to be selling a service that's, $150, right? You don't want to be doing a quitclaim deed for a lead from an LSA. In theory, these leads should be high quality because they're at the bottom of the funnel and they're ready to move. But what I hear from a lot of law firms is some complaints from their LSAs that they're lower quality, and that's because they're just not a good fit for the firm. Like I said before, there may be a probate case, but it's not the kind of probate case that you want. And you don't have any ability to do any pre-qualification using the LSAs. While those LSAs can give you immediate leads, don't put your money there instead of taking care of your SEO, because that's what you need for that long-term online visibility and your brand awareness. A balanced approach, okay? So you might want to give it a try. It's something that is, like I said, it's low risk, but just be sure that you're not putting all of your eggs in that basket. You're saying, okay, I'm going to LSAs, that's going to be my magic bullet. Probably not. It may be part of your strategy, but probably not your magic bullet. Another strategy that we have found has been super successful in 2023 has been webinar marketing. So whether you're doing an evergreen webinar or you're doing routine live webinars like this one, webinar marketing can be a great way to generate leads. So if you need more leads, and unlike LSAs, kind of like the opposite end of the spectrum, you want better qualified leads. You want an opportunity to qualify people before they reach out to you. And you want to leverage your time. Then an evergreen webinar funnel could be a very good strategy for you in 2024. We have seen it work very well, but there are some quirks to making it work. The first one is we're looking at shorter webinars now. We used to say 60-minute webinar. Now we're looking at webinars that are 20, 30, 40 minutes at the max. So we're trying to get those webinars shorter these days. Want to be sure that you're hooking your viewers right away and that you're focused on their problems rather than on strategies. So you're talking about why people need this instead of what this is. So you're not explaining what a living trust does, but you're explaining why people need one, why you might be in a position where you need to do this. And then the solution that you offer is that they book a call with you. The solution is not a document, okay? So the solution to this problem is not a living trust. The solution to the problem is that as a consultation with my firm or with me, to book a call with me. So that's kind of the overall formula. Keep it shorter, focus on the problems, and the solution is not the document, but rather the call, to book the call with your law firm. So here's what it looks like when we build a webinar funnel. We run ads on Facebook that are what we call on Facebook leads. So people fill out the lead form on Facebook. That sends that lead right into the CRM, and they immediately get an email and a text message that's automated, that immediately happens. They also get immediate access to the webinar. So we're no longer sending them to a registration page where they have to fill out a lot of information. They just put in their information on Facebook. They get this follow-up automatically. Then they immediately get access to the webinar. Then We have email follow-up as part of the workflow. And what we find is that our firms that do a telephone follow-up are getting a lot more leads and a lot more new clients from their webinar funnel. So email and text message, but those firms that are also making a phone call are getting a lot more value from their webinar funnel. Let me go back up. So then those people that don't book a call with you, you want to make sure that they are going into your ongoing drip marketing campaigns, automation, so that you're not having to invest more time, but you have the opportunity to reap more harvest. So some of the metrics for webinar marketing through a funnel like that. You want to be sure that you, before you jump into this, that you can have a budget to spend at least $50 a day on your ads. If that's just out of the question for you, then you might, if you're in a smaller market, you might be able to start at $25 a day, but you want to be able to hit that $50. And if it starts working really well, then you can scale it up to $100 a day. If that, if the numbers support that. We're looking for an average click-through rate on your ads of more than 1%. If you're getting less than 1% click-through rate on your ads, then your ads there's something wrong with them. They're either targeted wrong, or the creative is wrong, or it's the holiday season. Right now, ads on Facebook are tough. This is coming into Christmas. You got a lot of competition, and costs are way up, but we'll get past that. That's about a 2 or 3 week problem. What we see with our clients is about 70 or 80 leads per month when they're following that $50 to $100 to $150 a day budget. What we usually do is we try to make sure that the ads test out and we're getting the leads in, and then we scale up the budget. What we're seeing is we're getting leads in for less than $20 per lead. We're taking over ads for people who are paying as much as $60, $75 per lead. And we're able to pretty successfully get them down to $20 or less. Let me show you some of the numbers. So these are some of our good performers for over the past year. Their average cost per lead is $15. So we're looking at Michelle at $16.05 is her average. Brenda, $11.42 is her average. Maurice, $14.46, and Rudy, $12.44. So if you're running Facebook ads to a webinar now, and your cost per lead is significantly more than $20 per lead. Now, I'm going to take that back. Not right now. This is Christmas season. But overall, your average is well more than $20 per lead. Then you might want to give us a call, because we can probably work with you to get that cost per lead down significantly. So would a webinar marketing funnel be something that you would want to put into your marketing plan next year? Well, ask yourself, do you have capacity for more leads? Do you want better qualified leads? Do you have enough calendar availability for people to be able to book with you? One thing that will sabotage a webinar marketing funnel faster than anything else is people get all the way through this funnel and they're ready to book a call, and you don't have any availability for another 4 weeks. You're going to lose that lead. So do you have calendar availability for people to be able to book with you when they feel that immediacy and they're ready to move forward? Do you have capacity to serve more clients? Do you already have a pretty good foundation? Because one of the things that will really make your Facebook ads work better is if you're already doing well with your organic marketing. That will just boost your Facebook ads. So if you've already got a pretty good foundation, well-designed website, good SEO, 5-star reviews, then that's another reason why you might consider adding in the webinar funnel next year. And then do you have enough flexibility in your budget that you can invest in making this work? I really believe that the people that see good return on investment for their webinars are people who commit to having their ads professionally managed. I can't tell you how many people we've taken on who've tried to do it themselves, and they like, oh, webinars aren't really that big a deal. They don't really work that well. But when they're done right, they work great. We've seen some great results over the past year we're always constantly tweaking and revising and responding to changes on these advertising platforms. Okay, biggest game changer for 2023, we got to put our vote in for ChatGPT and all the forms of artificial intelligence that just burst onto the market this year. ChatGPT went live in November of last year. It's not the only AI platform, that is definitely one of the most widely known and most widely used. What we saw when it went live was almost every day we saw new things added, more capabilities. It got better and better and better at a astounding rate. And the rest of the world just keeps trying to keep up with it. Here's what really happens in terms of marketing. Okay, so just looking strictly at it from a marketing standpoint. AI made it cheap and fast and easy to create massive amounts of marketing content. Unfortunately, most of it is very bland, and some of it is just flat out wrong. So as marketers jumped on this bandwagon and they just started cranking out keyword stuffed content, that's what made this user experience deteriorate and people get frustrated, and Google had to respond with all these changes in the algorithm for helpful content. I say all that to say, please do not go into ChatGPT and have it write a blog post for you and just copy and paste it onto your blog. That's kind of the number one way not to use AI in your marketing. Big question. Can you use AI to create content at all? Does Google penalize it? Well, Google has come out several times over this past year saying, no, we do not penalize AI-generated content per se. What we do penalize is poor quality, unhelpful content. So what we find is that the best way to use chat is to first learn how to use it and use it to create outlines. Do multiple prompts where you give it a little question, you get some information back, then you start to refine it. And then take that as kind of a springboard for your content creation. But never just rely on it specifically. But also don't be afraid of it, because Google is not penalizing it just because it's AI generated. Google penalizes a lot of AI generated content because it's bad. Which is not to say they don't also penalize a lot of human written content because it's also bad. So the whole thing is we want to have good quality, helpful content that's accurate and that's published by credible sources. So that's what we need to do. When we're looking at AI, we want to say that we're looking to create quality content that's highly relevant. We want to think about what people, this user first approach, what are people looking for? What is it that they are coming to your website to learn about? Create content that answers those questions. Make sure that it's linked to generate your expertise and trustworthiness and to benefit from your expertise and trustworthiness. Obviously, you guys have got a lot of ethical standards. You've got a lot of compliance issues. Make sure that anything that you're publishing is being reviewed, that you're reviewing it to make sure that it's meeting those standards. And then finally, I think, and I have a podcast out this week about what I think is the biggest opportunity in marketing generated by AI is kind of in that gap of being human. So kind of maybe not use it too much. Get yourself out there. Get your face out there, get your voice out there, tell your stories. Be human in a world that's kind of become artificial very quickly. So one big opportunity, you've always heard this, go where they ain't. AI opens up an opportunity for authenticity. So maybe your biggest opportunity of AI is to not use it, but rather to get on camera, talk directly into the camera, be yourself, create your content yourself, and create content based on stories. Be very human, and you'll stand out. Right now, everything looks so artificial. So being human can be a really big advantage. You may have seen some of these ads across the internet. Maybe one of these ads brought you to us, and we're also running these in our newsletter. You talk about being human, right? Taking that personal touch in a world that's artificial. These are some of our highest performing ads that we've run on Facebook this year. The one on the left is a little family reunion that we had for my auntie when she hit a milestone birth date, and everybody in my family agreed that we could use this picture. That ad is probably our most successful ad we've ever run. The middle ad, that's James and his family out fishing. We run that as a remarketing ad, also highly effective. And then the one on the right is our Thanksgiving celebration. I show this to maybe inspire you that you can do a lot by going against the grain. Instead of using stock images, instead of using AI generated images, instead of being artificial, double down on being who you are, being authentically yourself. Like I said, these are some of our highest performing ads for the year. Consumer behavior online. This is really important, guys, because it really makes a difference in how you approach your marketing plan next year. Google is your #1 search engine. So remember, in a world of limited resources, you want to focus on Google. 84% of the people that search online want to talk to at least 3 law firms before they decide. This means that just because you get the click doesn't mean you're going to get the client. You need to do a lot more things right. Make sure your website design, your user experience is all working towards converting that visitor into a new client. Your reviews, people check out the reviews before they make a hiring decision. Then Google reviews are still the most influential. If you are an experienced attorney, be sure to highlight that in your marketing, because consumers do show a preference toward attorneys who have more experience. So if you're someone that's been in practice for 15, 20 years, make sure that is not a liability. That is an asset. Make sure you focus and highlight that in your marketing. Now, here's something that's very, very important. Most consumers are taking more than a day to research before contacting your law firm. So you want to be sure you have a remarketing campaign going. So if someone has seen your ad, that doesn't mean they're going to contact you right away. It means they're going to start looking around. And what you want is that while they're doing that for that day that they're researching, that your ad's following them around the internet. And that's going to help you turn a lot more visitors into new clients. We find that the remarketing ads are so effective for our clients and at very low costs. So you want to be sure that if you're running any kind of paid campaign, that it includes a remarketing campaign as well. So key takeaways from 2023 that are going to affect our 2024 marketing. Consumers expect more. They are more sophisticated and demanding, and you've got to show the value in order to get people to spend their money with you, in order to get them to engage you. Authenticity can be your secret weapon. Show your humanity in your marketing, in your videos, in your content. And I think the biggest takeaway is that there is no magic bullet. You have to have an omnipresent approach these days. There's not one thing that's going to turn it all around for you. To maximize your return on investment, you want to be sure that organic marketing is working for you to lower your client acquisition costs. So what do? What we do when we work with clients is we have a very comprehensive approach. The first thing we do is work on strategy. Make sure that we have a meeting of minds to determine what your goals are, what your resources are, your audience, your offer. Then we do the website design. We follow best practices. Almost everyone who comes to us already has a website. Frequently, that website is not working. Usually, we can look at it and tell exactly what needs to happen next. And even if you like the design, we can frequently keep the design, but make it work for you. So we follow best practices for SEO and conversion. Then the real work starts once the whole system is built with your automations, your integrations. Then we work on the ongoing SEO and the content marketing. That's part of our plan that we do for our clients. We also manage the social media. Not everybody has us manage social media. You don't have to have all these parts, but this is what we offer. Social media is a big part of your SEO, so we like to be able to handle that as well. If you decide to do paid advertising, we can bring that into the mix. We can manage those paid ads for you. Like I said, not everybody does it, but we want to be sure that we've got everything working together and that we really firmly believe in an integrated approach so that we're not unbalanced in any area. And then we do coaching. We take the data feedback from all your marketing performance and we meet on a regular basis with every client to talk about, okay, this is what's happened. How does that comport with what's going on in your law firm? Do we need to change things? What are your goals? What do we need to add something? Do we need to take something away? Do we need to rebalance? So that's kind of how we take this comprehensive approach. We're not a firm that does one thing. And I see that a lot of times we're talking to prospects who have one firm doing their SEO, one firm doing their website, one firm doing their pay per click, and the right hand does not know what the left hand is doing. The ROI is low and the cost is very high. I've even seen a firm that had one firm doing SEO and one firm doing the website. The SEO company wanted access to the website company wouldn't give the SEO firm access. It's just a mess. So we are very committed to having an integrated approach that has everything aligned with your strategy and that everybody on the bus is working toward the success of the law firm, not just my success in this little bitty piece of the marketing puzzle. So I promised you bonus materials if you stayed this long. I will send these out in the follow-up emails, the links. So if you don't get them on your phone right now, if you can't get over to it right this minute, don't worry about it. But there's a QR code that will take you to a Google document that will give you a checklist to start your marketing planning for next year, to make sure that you're addressing each of these areas in your marketing plan for next year. I also have an ebook on SEO specifically as it relates to estate planning and elder law. Okay, I want to answer some of these questions. Firstly, I would encourage you to book a call with my team. Strategy planning call. There's the QR code, also the link. But I do want to answer some of these questions. The first one is, do you focus on long tail keywords? Of course we do. Those long tail keywords are a big part. When I showed you, we had 44 key terms that we were working on for one of the clients. That obviously is going to include some long tail keywords. By long tail keywords, we mean search terms that include 3 or more words. So it might be estate planning attorney in San Diego. It also might be a question. Do I need an attorney to write a will? So we can look at your market to see where we can find some of these long tail keywords. Typically, they're not highly competitive, and we can get ranked on some of these longer tail keywords as well as the primary. So we always focus on the primary keyword combinations first: estate planning attorney in LA, wherever it is that you're located. But then we can get a lot of mileage out of focusing on those long tail keywords. That's a great question. We definitely do that. I've heard that LSAs are going away soon in some states. Have you seen any news on that? I have not. That's news to me. I haven't seen, as far as I can tell, they're booming. lawyers are jumping on that LSA bandwagon. If I do hear anything about that, I'll be sure to let you know. Will this webinar be recorded and sent to us? Thank you so much for the next comment. This has been by far one of the best webinars I've ever been privileged to benefit from. Thank you so much. That's my goal every time I do a webinar. Yes, it is recorded, and you'll get the replay link. We'll send out an email tomorrow, and we'll have the links for the bonus materials as well as for the replay. So if you didn't take notes, don't worry about it. You can have the replay. You can go over it as often as you want. You can fast forward it and back up. Thank you. I really appreciate that comment. I hope that you guys found, that everybody found this valuable. And if you are working on your marketing, you go through that marketing checklist and you're like, oh, I really see I need some help. My team is here to help you. Book a call. The call is free. You'll get a lot of great information and some guidance, and maybe decide that we could be of help to you in some aspect of your marketing planning for next year. Wish you all a great rest of your day. As we're going into the holiday season, wish you all great holidays, and watch for your email tomorrow for the replay link.